Welcome all to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders. I'm also a passionate disability rights advocate, fighting for families and persons with disabilities on access to and inclusion barriers. Today, we are going to be having Keri Goff in the Brevard Achievement Center with us. So excited to have you. How are you doing today, Keri?
Hi, Josh. I'm doing well today. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. And let's dive in. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Keri Goff, like you said, and I'm the Community Relations Manager here at BAC. And we are also passionate about creating accessible communities and workplaces.
So with the work that you do, let us know what the Brevard Achievement Center is all about, what type of services you guys provide.
So BAC is a social enterprise, and it's our mission to provide persons with disabilities innovative services and opportunities so that they can achieve their own personal success, whatever that might look like. We're dedicated to building communities that support members of all abilities. And to accomplish this, BAC works with federal Ability One contracts to employ individuals with disabilities on federal sites and military installations. We also work with commercial contracts to provide services that fill a need and help our customers achieve their own missions. Another way we work towards the goal of our mission is providing employment training services to those who wish to enter the workforce. They may or may not have had the training, or they may need some special supports to do that, and we have a number of innovative programs in place to help those individuals enter the workforce.
So tell me more about those individuals. So is it all abilities? Is it specific disabilities?
So we are open to assisting anybody of any ability. We hire people that don't have disabilities, and we hire people that have any disability. We help individuals that have fairly minor disabilities all the way to extremely significant disabilities, and everybody in between.
I love it. It's a good range, and it's definitely the services you guys provide really do help so many get from. One of the things I love most about employment service organizations like yourself that do those type of services is that it changes the game for people that want to live with a different quality of life, a different purpose. And when you do have employment, with a disability or any ability, really, you have something to wake up to. You have more money to be able to spend towards your everyday life, and it gives you, it's something really beautiful to be able to wake up to. So thank you for what you do.
I appreciate that. Our tagline is actually employ, empower, and it encompasses exactly what you just said.
So as the community relations manager, you mentioned that earlier. What does that entail? What is your day-to-day role?
So my personal role as the communications manager, or the community relations manager, is to basically provide communications to all of our various stakeholders. So that would include our Federal Ability One customers, our commercial contract customers, our donors, our employees, our participants in our day programs. And we utilize many tools and platforms to achieve this, one of which is including our website, which we'll be launching in the new fiscal year, which is in October. And it's completely revamped the look, the feel, but the most important part is we have added so many more accessibility features and tools so that everybody and anybody can access the information and resources on our website. We also rely on our local news publications and broadcasters, social media, email blasts, and all of that we're encouraging to be as accessible as possible as well. And of course, we utilize word to mouth with our community partners to help us spread awareness of our mission.
I love that. So when is that going live?
So this upcoming fiscal year, so October of 2021, we will have all of that will be live and up on our website.
And what is going to be the URL of the website?
That's helpful, isn't it? It's bacemploy.com.
I love it. And so with everything that you do on a day-to-day, I would love to hear more about some of the stories of people that you've changed their lives and what that looks like.
So that's my favorite part of this job, is telling these stories. So I'll start with a story about Caroline. Caroline came to BAC looking for some of our employment training opportunities. So we have different opportunities where we do on-the-job placements. We'll help with resume building. We'll help with how to do an interview, stuff like that. And so she had come to us to round out some of her hard and soft skills so that she could be the best candidate she could be. And she ended up getting placed on an on-the-job training on one of our own contracts at the Patrick Space Force Base, their dining hall. And ultimately, she went through the training, the on-the-job training there. She did fantastic, and she's been employed there as a full-time employee for a number of years now. And one of the best things is when you ask Caroline, what does she do for a living? She always comes back with, I protect America, because she serves the people at the dining hall that protect America. And she's 100%, she absolutely is part of the crew and part of the team that protects America.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
It really is.
And when you have people like Caroline and others, so how early can you get to them to help them to get employed?
So we start our services at age 14. So we go into the high schools and we generally start with some programs in the high schools to help with, like I said, that resume building, how to do an interview, the hard and soft skills that will make you a great candidate, and those run through adulthood. So you don't have to be a teenager to start in those programs, but we do start in our high schools right at 14 years old. The only requirement is that the individual in the high school must have either a 504 plan or an IEP. It doesn't really matter what those two documents are for, what their challenges might be. We'll take anybody of all abilities.
That's so cool. And then when it comes to the businesses that you match people up, whether it's federal government, private businesses, how does that usually work? What's put on them? How do you make that a synergy between each other?
So the federal contracts, the commercial contracts, if you are doing an on-the-job training or you are employed on one of those contracts, you're actually a BAC employee at that point. So those are contracts that we go out and we look for and we bid on, and when we get them, then we hire the individuals directly. The other part of what we do is our on-the-job training program, and that is when we go out into the community and we try to match an individual to something that they would like to do, and then we go find a company that's doing that. So for instance, we had an individual, Preston, came to us and he wanted to work with animals. That's all he said he wanted to do. He wanted to work with animals. So he went through the training where we go through the job skills and the different hard and soft skills that are critical to being a good candidate. And we matched him with the Humane Society or the ASPCA. I'm sorry, I forget which one, but it was one of the local shelters here. And the on-the-job training is typically an 8 to 12 week session. So after you've gone through the basics and whatnot, we place you in an employment. BAC actually pays that individual salary. We pay all their needs, the workers' comp insurance, all of that stuff is on BAC. So there is no burden to the business that's going to take on the on-the-job training. All that we ask is that they train them to do the job. And at the end of that 8 to 12 weeks, when the training is done, there is no obligation. The business does not need to hire this individual, but we always hope that they have a position available and that they can actually get permanent employment. If they don't, then we will go and find another on-the-job training, and then that individual can put that on their resume that they've had this work experience, and that's the biggest thing, that they've gotten this experience. But in Preston's case, he wanted to work with animals. We placed him at the local adoption shelter, and he's now been working there for a number of years. And when I was talking to his supervisor, it came up that Preston actually rides his bike to work every day. And it's like a 20-mile bike ride. It's insane. And we're in Florida. This is the Florida heat. In the summer, he rides his bike 20 miles to get to work with these animals. And his supervisor said that no other employee is that dedicated. There's no way any of the other employees that all can drive and have means to get there. He's there on time every day. And all my other employees, they come in late, they have excuses why they can't get here, and here's Preston riding his bike, and that just shows the level of dedication and the level of appreciation and the work ethic that a company can get just from hiring inclusively.
What I love about everything you're saying is that what you do is you give people with disabilities, workers with disabilities, a chance. A lot of times businesses might be scared of hiring somebody with a disability because of the unknown. But then you get them a foot in the door, a wheel in the door. You give them the opportunity to show them what they can contribute. And once they get in the door and they can test out the waters, both the individual, the worker with disability, gains that confidence, learns a new trade, but also the business sees this person's doing an incredible job. It's
Right.
contributing to a better workforce, to the entire team. So I love
Absolutely.
what you do. I love what you do. And I would love to know more really, what is your favorite accomplishment that you're most proud of?
So I don't know. That's a tough one, but I can say something recently that I'm extremely proud of is how the various departments of our agency came together and we were able to handle the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're still handling it because it's not over yet. But our ability, one, in commercial contracts that I mentioned earlier, those employees were and have been on the front lines during the shutdown and beyond, providing grocery store service, food services, like I said, at the dining halls, and custodial services to our customers, allowing those customers to continue their missions and mostly right now during COVID, operate in a safe manner. Our employees were able to take the training and get additional certifications on disinfection and how to handle cleaning during the pandemic. And not a lot of people realize that many of the people out there on the front lines that were keeping the economic wheel turning, we had people at rest stop stations cleaning the bathrooms so that the truckers could keep bringing the toilet paper back to the grocery store. And then we had the grocery store employees stocking the shelves, putting that toilet paper back up on the shelves. And it really was empowering and just amazing to watch and to know that the majority of the work that was being done by individuals with disabilities, and not a lot of people know that. And then, like I said, that the various departments of our agency came together, so we were also able to keep our employment training services completely operational by turning towards virtual programming. We were providing online content 5 days a week during the entire shutdown, which is over 20 weeks that we were doing this. And now we've transitioned those programs into hybrid. So we're still providing virtual content to those who are looking for the employment training services and obtaining those critical hard and soft skills. So that way they're not only offered permanent employment, but they're able to maintain it as well. So it's been just really remarkable to me to see how that's all come together and how, like I said, the world doesn't know. The majority of the work being done out there on the front lines was done by individuals with disabilities. And without them, the shutdown would have been catastrophic. It was catastrophic in some places, and for some, I don't want to downplay that, but the work that was being done and is continuing to continue to evolve with all the changes and everything was done by individuals with disabilities.
So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like that's what the spotlight sessions are all about. Hearing these type of stories, these experiences that not everybody knows about. And what you guys are doing at BAC is absolutely awesome. So just thank you for all that you do. I would love to know more what your thoughts and feelings are around what accessibility means to the people you serve or within the workforce. Let's talk about accessibility.
So accessibility it's so ingrained in everything that we do that it's hard to just be like, accessibility is blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's giving the means to somebody who's differently able. They can access the same tools, the same resources, whether it be online, in a store, in a place of employment, that everybody else also has access to. And they are able to complete the task at hand in an effective manner. Having an accessible workplace, that's obviously my passion, is the accessible workplaces, but it's across the community at large, not only empowers the individual to work hard and to be independent and successful, but it actually empowers the entire workforce around them to be successful. It's when you can go into work and you can do the same job and you can have the same tools and have the access to be able to be successful, it just creates this culture around you that just grows. And like I said, it's empowering to the individual. Obviously, success is important, but it's empowering to the entire workforce and causes the entire workforce to be successful as well.
I agree with you so much about this. It's really creating that even playing field for people so that they can access information, products, services, you name it, whatever it is within their job. If you're able to create a reasonable accommodation that allows them to do what they do best, allows them to do it, you've just created their ability to contribute, their ability to have that opportunity. And that's a beautiful thing right there. What would you say about reasonable accommodations that most businesses might not know about?
So this is my passion right here. My favorite thing is, as the community relations manager, is to go out into the community and talk to business owners about a reasonable accommodation, because a lot of times they think it's this big scary thing, but it's not. A reasonable accommodation is usually something very simple. Sometimes it's allowing an employee to use a screen reader, or to have a larger monitor on their desk than maybe what you normally would have. It's not this huge investment. It's not widening doorways and putting in handrails and building ramps. Sometimes it is, but generally that's part of your building code anyhow. And so generally the reasonable accommodation is something that's only a few $100s. And most companies have that in their budget for new hires already. Most companies already realize when they bring in a new hire, it's going to cost an initial investment of probably a couple $100s, depending on what that job entails. So I like them to think about that. But another thing about reasonable accommodations in the workforce that I love to ask employers to keep is an open mind. For example, if I applied for a job and I was 100% the ideal candidate and I was offered the job, whatever this job may be, but before accepting the position, I disclosed to my future employer that I've got 2 young children and I need to get them to school in the mornings. My husband can pick them up in the afternoon, so that's not a problem, but I would need to adjust my work hours from, say, the scheduled for hours for this position is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and I might need to actually work 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Most employers would find that a reasonable request and probably still offer me the position with those adjusted hours. But what if I needed the adjusted hours, not because I needed to get my children to school, but because I had a medical reason that I couldn't drive? And I had to rely on public transportation, and the bus wouldn't get me to the office until 9 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. But I could get a ride home at 6 p.m., even though the buses probably stopped running then. I've got family members, somebody that can pick me up at 6, so I can still work the same amount of hours as everybody else. Individuals with disabilities often find hesitation and rejection with this scenario, even though the exact accommodation may be given freely to an individual without disabilities. And this is why we still have so much work to do in advocating for those in our community. Oftentimes when I give this example, you can actually see the theoretical light bulb go off in the business owners in their head. And it's generally like an aha moment for them, because it's not unreasonable for a parent in the workforce to request alternate hours. And oftentimes it's given. And like I said, it's just that hesitation because it's not something they expected. It's because I need to take the bus because I can't drive. And that is where we just really need the business owners to keep an open mind and to realize that you can have this amazing candidate and these amazing employees, and a small accommodation is all that's really might be needed here.
That makes so much sense. It's these type of conversations for other businesses and business owners to hear, to like let them, you know what, yeah, that actually, I provided that accommodation to many of my employees. Why wouldn't I do that to an employee with differing abilities? Or it's just, thank you so much for sharing that. And I would love to know, and this is my last question for you, if you could speak with anybody in the world, who would you speak to and what would you speak with them about?
Oh, so that's a good one. So I'm a bit of a space nerd. I live in Florida on the Space Coast, so it goes hand in hand. In fact, we have one of our Ability One contracts with, so an Ability One contract, let me just explain that a little bit since I've talked about it a few times. An Ability One contract is a federal contract that you have to go out and bid and win. And basically what it is, the federal government is saying that X amount of employees providing services on our federally owned lands, our military installations, need to be performed by individuals with disabilities. So that is how we get some of those contracts where we employ those individuals. We have over 850 individuals employed on those contracts, all the way from Virginia to Puerto Rico right now, North Carolina, Florida, all over the place. So it's really, those Ability One contracts are really an important part of our day-to-day. And so one of those contracts we have is actually with the Kennedy Space Center. And I was actually able to, as the community relations manager, I was able to actually go out there during the last manned SpaceX launch and watch that launch go up from the launch pad with our crew. So to get back to answering your question, somebody that I would like to sit down and have a conversation with would be Elon Musk. Not only because, like I said, I'm a space nerd, but because I'd love to learn all about the amazing things SpaceX accomplishes, but I would also like to know about the obstacles that he has faced himself in his own journey to be successful. I know he's announced it, I know he's talked about it, but I don't know if a lot of people realize that he actually has Asperger's, and he has to operate in what he calls human emulation mode. And so I would really love to sit down and talk to him about that and to find out what those obstacles were like, and just the awareness that everyday people like you, like me, that have some of these challenges that need some special supports can go on and send a Tesla to Mars. How do you get from one to the other? And I would really love to hear about that and how he made such an empire for himself.
That would be one fun person to interview, and definitely what you've done always puts me at awe. Like he is, I think he's probably one of the coolest people with a disability that has just transformed the world, and he does it
right, and that's
way.
exactly it.
He's done it in his own
Yeah.
way, and I think the big takeaway is that all abilities can contribute. It's just allowing them, giving them a chance, and having a workforce that's not all the exact same person, this type of person, that becomes a very stagnant workforce. But if you have a diverse workforce, you really have better conversations, people providing more contributions and in different ways. And disability is an important part of a diverse workforce. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you for having our conversations. You are an incredible spotlight session. And BAC, thank you. Keri, thank you. And
thank you so much.
Beautiful day.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, take care. Bye.